following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Flags. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and young guns Billy Derrick and Michael Sindrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's a rainy night in Georgia. It's a rainy night here. And from basically what we're seeing in the forecast, it's going to be this way for a while. I will tell you up front exactly what we're doing today. The first hour will be a lot like it was yesterday. So many unanswered questions in the Titans relieving of general manager Jon Robinson from his duties. We're going to get into that. Terry McCormick will actually join us around 4:40. Mike Vrabel earlier today spoke to the media, and we'll find out exactly what it is he put out there. Let's say hello very quickly to Watson Brown. Billy, if you will, turn me off.
I got you, George. Watson, you there?
I'm there. Tell him to hurry up and get rid of the coughs.
He's drinking some water right now. We'll just take a little break. Let's see if he's good.
Really, I've been covering for the dude my whole life. So.
I think he's good now. So
that one will bring him back quick when I said that.
That was so low down.
That was pretty low.
Getting somebody while they're down. You know what? If I thought I could do this, I'd throw this water bottle at you.
That was pretty low. I'll even claim that one. I'll even claim that one is pretty low.
So
it's just a lie, by the way. It's not true.
In a few moments, we're going to get down and dirty on what is going on here with this Titans situation. We've got an update to start the show. Excuse me.
Here, take some more water.
I think I got the hiccups. This is not good.
Let's get to the update here, Watson.
I think he didn't throw the water at me there, Billy. He wouldn't have had anything to drink.
Oh, man. Watson, let's start. We got a couple MLB deals here. Aaron Judge has agreed to a monster deal, 9 years, $360 million. He's doing a little bit better than George right now. That gives him $150 million more than what the Yanks offered him in the spring. So that's what Judge is working with, the kind of money he's got right now.
Our man will be going crazy with this, won't he? I mean, the Yankees. Terry. There was no way they were going to let him go. They got bundles anyway. They were not letting this guy go. And, man, I think he drained them pretty good.
So let's think about this for a minute. He turned down, I believe it was 7 years, $230 million. And so now he gets 9 for $360. So this little game he played got him an extra 2 years and an extra $130 million.
I don't understand the 9-year part. I mean, he's not going to be there 9 years.
I understand it. I got it. I get it, Billy. He asked for it.
So
whatever he asked for, he got. That's how he got.
Okay. How old is Aaron Judge? Why couldn't he be there 9?
I mean, what percent?
He's got to be low 20s, doesn't he? Low to mid 20s at highest.
Aaron Judge is 30.
Is he 30?
Yeah.
Nine's pushing it, but still 39.
This must have been a real sticking point to him.
He wants
to basically say, I want to do this one time And if I'm going to stay with the Yankees, I've got a ballpark that is very favorable to what I do best.
Yeah.
He does not want to leave that stadium, that comfortable stadium. Kenley Jansen, George, and the Red Sox are in agreement on a 2-year, $32 million contract that'll bolster their bullpen. That was awful last year in Boston.
I'm not surprised at this. I didn't think at any point the Braves were going to go heavy on Kenley Jansen when they got Iglesias at the trade deadline a year ago. It sure seemed to me like they were saying, okay, he's our closer of the future. Now, the big question is, what in the hell's going on with Dansby? Why has this gotten to this? I don't know. I certainly talk to people about it, and nobody seems to know. That's a big old mystery.
You got to believe it's coming soon, right? I mean,
I would hope so, and I would think on the Braves front, back-to-back years where you lose a Freddie Freeman and a Dansby Swanson, that doesn't look good.
No. And Watson, I think you're onto something. It does feel a lot like the Freddie Freeman situation last year.
Just saying, this looks familiar to me. The longer it goes, I've watched a lot of these. The longer it goes, the more they're going somewhere else.
Well, Von Miller, speaking of the of going somewhere else, he may be doing that after this season with the Bills. He's out for the season. So ACL injury for Von Miller. He underwent exploratory surgery in Texas, whatever that means, yesterday, and an ACL injury was found in his right knee. Buffalo was hopeful that he'd be able to return this season.
Yeah, so is it as simple as they cannot go where it is they want to go without Von Miller? Watson, if you had to answer that question, what do you think?
I'd say that's a big blow. That's a big blow. He is such a good playmaker, not just a pass rusher. Stripping balls, falling on fumbles. And evidently a really good locker room guy in a leader way. Everywhere he's gone, it's come out that he is that.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a major blow to the Bills.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. Do you think they can win the Super Bowl without him? Because I don't think so.
Yeah, I might lean on the opposite side of 50-50. I would have been 55-50 yes with him because I just worry about their running game and stopping the run. That's the two things they don't do well. But now I go 45-50 no, they can't. I don't think they can get the Chiefs now.
That's what they're going to have to go through.
That's the game. That's basically the game right there. It's the Chiefs.
And Watson, you lose a game wrecker like that on defense, where one play, one sack can win you the game. That's huge right there.
Look what Harold Landry has done to our pass rush.
Yeah.
You can't lose that kind of guy, in my opinion. Not a pass rusher and a playmaker. Just creates things when he's out there. Landry did the same thing. He'd knock a ball down. He'd strip the quarterback. He was a playmaker last year, and we miss him big time.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Jags might be missing Trevor Lawrence this weekend. During the second quarter of last week's loss to Detroit, he took a huge hit from James Houston. He grabbed his left leg, looked like he was in a lot of pain, and Doug Peterson has come out and said that he's day-to-day now after suffering a foot injury on that play. So that'd be a pretty good help for the Titans if they are able to see C.J. Beathard instead of Trevor Lawrence.
Hold on a second. We do not take shots at Battleground Academy graduates. Don't go there.
We don't. Okay, I'm going to remember that one.
Yeah.
Since when is that the only thing you don't take shots at? Is that it? We put that over in a corner by itself, and I don't see many things you don't take shots at.
You are in mid-season form today, aren't you? Wow.
Put BGA over here in the corner. Don't tackle.
All kidding aside.
Well, first of all, they're a family I know really well, and they are really good people, and they went through something a couple of years ago that's just unspeakable. But anyway, if it is CJ Beathard, I'm not saying that I want his team to win, but I will say this. I hope he has a hell of a game and they lose.
There you go.
That's a better way to think about it.
To say it.
That came out George Plasterish. But you're right. I hope he does too, because that family, I don't know them. You've talked to me about them, and
incredible people.
That was awful. Nobody wants to go through something like that, man. Nobody.
Oh, and credit for CJ kind of sticking with the game. I mean, he's still in the league, and he was a great player at Iowa, and he's kind of found himself a backup role. So we'll see what happens Sunday. Trevor Lawrence status up in the air. George, last piece here. Jeff Brohm is going back home, and he's going back to Louisville. They're finalizing the deal to make him their next head coach. Is expected to be for 6 years and $35 million. That range. He played at Louisville. And I didn't even realize. I didn't realize.
Real good player.
And look, the Brohm family is the first family of Louisville football.
And George, I came that close. I thought of getting him. I was in that home twice, or we were in that home twice
when
I was at Vanderbilt.
Vandy?
To bring him to Vandy, and I think he was really intrigued with the thought of it, and I just knew at the end, because his family was so Louisville. But Louisville wasn't in the ACC then. It was a little different Louisville at that point. And we're SEC, and they may have been Conference USA. I'm not real sure what they were in at that point. But man, I wanted him bad.
How do you think
real bad?
How do you think Purdue feels about this? Is this a look?
I think it'll be home. I think it'll be better because he turned it down once and stayed. Yeah. And I think this second go around with it home and where he played and the family background, I think that they'll be a lot better with it this time than the first go around myself.
And he's done, Watson, you think all he can really do at Purdue? I mean,
I think he knows that.
Yeah.
And he's given them all he's got. And honestly, he got them to the championship game this year. So I don't know that he knows he can do any more than that at Purdue. I would bet you Purdue is disappointed, but I don't think this time they would jump at him if he goes.
How about the upgrade for Louisville? Satterfield, I mean, I'm not trying to rip on Satterfield.
Yeah, they should have hired. That's who Louisville needed the first go around, and they wouldn't be where they are today if they'd gotten Jeff. Jeff is a really good football coach.
Yeah. You want me to throw just a made-up rumor that comes out of my rear end?
Oh, yeah. You've got a few of those, so let it fly.
Jim Leonard, who I'm a big Jim Leonard fan.
At Louisville?
Wisconsin, no, at
Purdue. That'd be a great hire. I'm with you.
That'd be a good fit.
I'll have another little swig of water on that one.
George, honestly, that was good by you. I'm surprised.
Wow.
That was really good by you. I agree with that one 100%. That agreement and a dime will get you a cup of coffee, but I agree with you on that one.
Watson, I want to ask you this. This is sort of a personal thing. Have you ever seen the 30 for 30 that involves the NC State players who won the 83 national title?
Oh, yeah, more than once. Yeah.
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah, it's a great 30 for 30. One of the best.
I got to live that moment last night with the group, the 1988 group that'll be honored tonight at the Vandy Pitt game. This involved Will Perdue, Barry Goheen, Barry Booker, Drouд. Scott Droud was there. Eric Reed, Steve Grant. And when I got there, it was very nice. There was something happened at the beginning of it that was very personal when Scott Droud just said, before we get started ripping you, you did an unbelievable job at Coach Newton's, as a eulogizer. And it was very nice. But that was followed by 3 hours of, if we'd had it on tape, exactly like that NC State thing, moments, funny stuff. thank God it wasn't recorded. It was an unbelievable night. I don't know that I've had that much fun in a long time. That's what sports is about. For us who do this for a living, you know how it is, Watson. If you got a group of your former players in a restaurant private room, can you imagine what that would be like?
And it would be everywhere I've ever been, every team I ever had. I mean, that's what sports gives you guys, and we've all been there. But that was my career, and I'm telling you, sports is relationships. It's relationships, memories of relationships, and the best friends I've ever had all came from this business, and players that are now friends, players that I played with, everything. I mean, but it's what it is, George. What you go through is so demanding and every day and up and down that the friendships and the relationships you build through it is nothing like it. And I've always said this. I was very lucky. People that played and ended up, and me being a coach, I was special because the normal guy, the normal student doesn't get that. Now, that didn't make me better, but it gave me something they couldn't get the same way. And once you get that, man, that's what you leave with. It's not the wins and the losses. They talked about wins and losses last night, I promise you. But it was it was relationships.
Oh, it was.
And that's what the normal guy just doesn't get the opportunity to do.
Without giving away anything, I will admit to this one thing. It was unanimous that my golf game sucks.
Well, gosh.
That came up.
I heard my favorite part about it is CM there was nobody CM liked to pick on more than George.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Oh, even his own son said that about a year ago to me. Listen, I know we got to go to the break. When we come back, we're going to Watson and I are going to kind of go through this whole Jon Robinson stuff again. Terry will join us around 4:40, 4:45 to talk about Mike Vrabel's press conference. My guess is that Vrabel has done a lot of tap dancing. We'll find out next on Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
You know, one of the things that I guess I've learned over the years in being in sports media for a long time is that when you get a story like yesterday with Jon Robinson's firing, that there's certain things you think about on that first day when you go on the air. And I want to think we did an okay job yesterday of trying to discuss different aspects of this story. But given 24 hours to think about what all has gone on, Watson, I want to fire a few things at you and see what you think.
Okay.
The first, to me, is an obvious. If Amy Strunk thinks that she's just going to do this and that she's not going to be forced at some point to get a little more transparent about what's going on, it isn't going to work this way.
Well, these owners, George, in the NFL are different than anything that I've seen in sports. They're harder to get to those people than anybody.
Right.
And they are. They're really hard to get to them. They hide. They don't think they got it. They don't owe anybody anything.
Right, they've got enough money, they can get away with it.
Yes, and I'm not sure that if they'll get to her. Mike may have to be the buffer, and I'm sure we're going to get into that a little bit later, but I'm not sure they can get to her, George. She might make a statement, but to put her in front of a camera and answer questions from everybody sitting there, I don't think that day will ever come.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I think she's going to have to pick somebody that she trusts and let a little more info out. Watson, if you try to connect dots, okay, here's one that came up that I've been told about. As recently as February, she attended a juvenile diabetes dinner that is near and dear to Jon Robinson's heart because he has a child who has juvenile diabetes. And so as recently as February, she could have used the excuse, look, I live in Houston, I can't do this. But she obviously had good enough feelings about Jon Robinson as recently as February to be with him at that banquet. And at the end, not that it's any of my business, made a very nice contribution. First of all, I like Amy. I don't know her very well. I've met her, I think, twice in my life that I've met her. She seems like a very classy person. But I think she's going to have to get real about this, and she's going to have to let a little more info out here than just this statement saying we've parted ways, and the words in the statement are relieved of duties.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's fired. he got fired. I don't know that the A.J. Brown thing went down in February. I think it was later than that.
Oh, it absolutely was. It was
so
right
that wouldn't have been added onto this pile
right.
just at that point. So I'm not sure. I'll throw on top of that. I'll throw something out. I'm not sure there wasn't a blow up somewhere that we just don't know about.
Between whom?
I'm not sure. It might not have been John and Mike. And there was a blow up here, just here recently, where Mike just went after him finally and said, what you did just ruined this whole year, or blah, blah, blah. And then John jumps back at him, and there wasn't anything I could do. I'm guessing, you're the one that gets the info. I don't get it, but I'm guessing. I just think there might have been a blow up at some point that Miss Amy had to get in the middle of and take a side.
Okay,
George.
So
I just wonder that, because she's not one on her own to go do this. She didn't do this on her own. She didn't bring John in and then fire the football coach. John, I promise you, got in her ear and said, we need to make a change. And then he brought Mike in. That's just not her style, in my opinion. Now, you can correct me, because I don't know her at all.
No,
I'm just looking on the outside. But I just wonder if there hadn't been finally just a blow up.
Okay.
Between John and Mike a little bit. And so,
but isn't that almost to my point? That
maybe.
What this does, the longer that she doesn't give you any info other than, this formal press release, the longer she doesn't give you anything, it allows idiots like me to start speculating. Now, do I believe that what you just put out there is a likely scenario? Hell yes, I do. Trying to connect the dots, she has seemed to have a very warm relationship with Jon Robinson. Okay, and I'm not totally blaming Vrabel here, because the fact of the matter is John's last 3 or 4 moves have absolutely boomeranged in his face. And so it's left Vrabel saying, I'm playing coach with my hands tied behind my back, and here's the perfect scenario. A guy that I have this warm embrace with before the game goes out and buries me. And I can't totally blame Vrabel for whatever his role is in this. And by the way, I don't think he's going to tell us anything.
Well,
I think he's going to tap dance.
He's the one talking to the media today, not
Right.
Amy Adams Strunk.
No, and I understand that. That's a regular, whatever the Wednesday thing is they do.
Right,
And,
but
he'll try to talk about, short yardage situations. And all anybody gives a damn about right now is, Mike, what went on here? And I don't think it's necessarily fair to him that he's the only public spokesman.
She needs to speak soon.
She does need to speak soon.
Good luck.
Well,
I don't think it'll happen.
I think what it opens
all you will get out of her is a statement, a written statement. That's might come. That it was, but it's going to be generic. It was just time. It was, if we're going to take the next step, I didn't feel like we can do it with where we are. You're going to get a generic statement, and it won't be out of her mouth. It's going to be handed in a written form to everybody. That's what I think. She's already done that once.
Right. Let me go a step farther with this. I believe that national media, local media, whatever, within a week, we'll have a lot more of what probably did go down than we have today. Just because if you give media long enough, even idiots like me sometimes find a blind hog, or whatever they call it, blunt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're going to find out some things, whether she tells us or not. And I think she's better off just going ahead and saying, hey, I'm going to give you some parameters of what went down here.
Name me an NFL owner that's done that. They'll do it later after the fact, but they don't do it. That's not the style.
Well,
and
what it does,
a university, George, is a different world. They nearly have to.
Right.
But the NFL, they're hidden behind their boss within the league, That's the way he operates. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't think we're going to get anything, and they'll just let the speculation fly. I just believe that there's a lot more frustration behind the scenes than we even realize. I think they knew last year they had a true shot, and they blew it. I think they thought they had the same shot again this year with this team they had. And the team's not as good as what they thought. They're 1-5 against winning record teams. 1-5.
And they've got a lot of holes that all of us can see.
We can see them, and they see them.
Very obvious.
They see them. I think they're frustrated as they can be because they know windows are short in the NFL. And they know their time's running out with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill and certain guys like that. Taylor Lewan's probably done. The guys they thought were going to be their guys, for whatever reasons, it hasn't worked out. And they're still there, but they know they're not near as good as they were a year ago in their minds. That's what I think the frustration is, George.
Okay.
I think they know they're not as good.
Let's say that I believe that the scenario you threw out there is probably better than 50% that something like that happened, that Vrabel got frustrated and said to Robinson, "You are killing me. You have cut my legs out, and you've done it, I don't know, without my knowledge. I didn't know, I would never have let AJ. I don't know how much communication they've had, but to believe that Vrabel may have said, "You are taking my legs out," is highly likely. Okay. But what I'm saying is stuff, and they get pissed off when you don't report accurately. But when you don't give anybody any info, you open yourself up to idiots like me conjuring up scenarios.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I don't think she's going to do it. That's all I'm saying. I don't think she's going to do it. I think she's going to sit back now and let it be, and let Mike handle it the best he can and get through it. These owners don't do it. They don't do it.
I think that's one of the things that will cause her a little bit of a PR problem here is it allows people like me to conjure up scenarios that may or may not be true, and then they bitch and moan when they say, "Well, you weren't accurate." Well,
how far does she have to go in your mind? She's already said, "I don't think we can do it the way we got it set up. We got to make changes. We've come a long ways." Well, how far has she got to go? Does she have to tell you when they got at 10:52, the Mike and John got in an argument? I don't see why she has to. Honestly, George, I don't see why she has to say any more than she said.
Because
I didn't like the direction we're going,
Watson. Because it opens up the ability for idiots like me to start making up scenarios.
It's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: if Vrabel had nothing to do with it, which I don't believe.
Well, Terry,
but if he did,
Terry just tweeted, he said, Vrabel said he was informed of the decision to fire Robinson and was not part of the evaluation process.
I don't believe that for a minute.
So we can ask Terry about that.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a minute. But here's the point. Let's say he told the truth on that. The fact that they're not putting out any more information allows me the opportunity to say, well, I think that's a crock. I think that's a pile of crap, and I don't believe it. And yet, in fairness to Vrabel, what if he is telling the truth?
I think he probably is telling it. If he said that, I can't imagine him just lying.
Well,
that's a big statement to me. I didn't expect that out of his mouth.
Terry is in the on-deck circle. Can't wait to talk to him in about 3 minutes. This is stuff you're going to want to hear on Main Street Media Television.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com. Since 1865, the First Baptist Church of Gallatin on Winchester Street has served its community by catering to the least, the last, and the lost, providing a church of welcome used by God to save the lost, transform the saved, and impact its community. As a proud multi-ethnic congregation, Pastor Derek Jackson personally welcomes you to join them in fellowship Sunday mornings at 8 in person or at 1045 in person or online at firstbaptistgallatin.org. First Baptist Gallatin on Winchester Street, serving with open arms as a true church of welcome.
Well, a little more than 24 hours after Jon Robinson's firing, Mike Vrabel has talked to the Nashville media. Terry McCormick was a part of that session. Terry will skip the Aaron Judge other than to say congratulations, nice hat. What did Vrabel say?
Well, Mike was asked a lot of questions about it, regarding the timeline, regarding the timing of it, regarding really how it all went down. And he didn't impart a whole lot. He said that he was informed of the decision. It wasn't one that they asked for his input in, is what he said. And that then he had to have a team meeting this morning and discuss, kind of where they go from here after the firing of Jon Robinson.
Terry, obviously there was tension in this particular meeting. Was he asked, do you feel like Jon cut your legs out with the moves that he made?
Well, he was asked, in terms of, how much roster control, was he satisfied with the roster? And, for the most part, he dodged those questions, didn't really give a direct answer, much like he has been when he's been asked questions that he didn't want to answer in other scenarios. So my guess is by not answering it directly, he didn't want to throw Jon Robinson under the bus publicly or anything. But my guess is that he probably didn't completely disagree with Amy Adams Strunk's assessment that the roster needed some upgrades.
Do you believe what he said?
I think he was being very guarded with what he said. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know that, I don't think he intentionally told us anything that wasn't true, but I think that he was very guarded with the words that he put out there in terms of his assessment of the situation and how it was handled.
Terry, I've brought this up to Watson, and I'll get Watson in on this in just a second. My belief is that until somebody is a little more transparent about all this, what it allows is goofballs like me to start conjuring up scenarios. Watson conjured one up earlier that I'm pretty certain likely happened, which is there was some sort of dust up between Vrabel and Robinson, where Vrabel at some point said to him, "You're killing me. These deals are hurting my ability as a coach to compete at the highest level." You know damn good and well that's happened at some point. And until they're a little more transparent, it allows people like me to rampantly speculate.
Oh, I don't disagree with that at all. I think, I think there probably were, plenty of disagreements between the two in personnel matters. There some questionable moves that have been made with this roster especially over the last 2 years, 2020 and 2021 in particular. It's a little early to start, casting aspersions at the 22 draft class, but I'm sure that there were plenty of disagreements over how the 2020 and 21 draft classes panned out for the Titans, because there is precious little contributions from either of those classes on this roster right now. So they couldn't have been in harmony over the way that played out.
So A.J. Brown torched him on Sunday, which is really not a big surprise given the state of their secondary. You witnessed, I was out of town when the whole thing went down. You have claimed that Vrabel looked furious when he found out about the A.J. Brown deal. Was he left out of the decision-making of that move?
I don't know that he was left out of the decision-making, because they were all in there in the war room together, including Amy Adams Strunk, when they decided to make the trade and move on from A.J. Brown. But I do think that Mike Vrabel was clearly, you could tell from the picture that the NFL Network had, the video from the war room as they were going through the process of completing that deal. You could tell his displeasure. There was no denying it. And that come about a week or so after Mike Vrabel, I think, went on the Rich Eisen show and said, A.J. Brown will be a Titan as long as I'm the coach, or words to that effect.
Watson, your witness.
Terry, did you get the feeling, because that's what I'm getting from listening to you, that when you don't defend something or you kind of just go away from it, it's leaving it to people to say, well, he was for this, or he sure wasn't against it. Did anybody in the press conference just bald-faced ask, Mike, did you try to stop this if Miss Amy came in and we're going to make a change? Did you try to stop it, or did you just let it go, or did you not comment at all? Did anybody directly ask him that question?
No, that's one thing he wasn't asked, was whether or not he tried to stop it, or whether or not he had the power to stop it, which, he indicated that it was Amy Adams Strunk decision, her and the ownership group, that it was their decision and their decision solely, and that they informed him of what they were going to do.
Yeah, and that's knowing Mike's personality, Terry. That's just hard for me to see him sitting there and not at least trying to stop it and talk to her about it, and just saying, oh, okay, and walk away. That's the way he's making it sound like it went down.
Which is poppycock.
Right.
And that's where I have the issue. To me, is still got question mark by it, because where does Mike stand? It's going to be easier for Mike, and I'll bet you this is what he did. He stood up there and said, man, I'm really proud of what Jon did for us while he was here. We've come a long way, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't address the issues. at all. And that to me is basically saying, I'm washing my hands of this. I don't want any part of it, even though I might have not tried to stop it. I'm not saying that, but I'm just washing my hands of the whole deal. That's what it sounds like he did today.
Yeah, and that's kind of what he has to do, because as much as he, may or may not have had any involvement in this, he has to, remember, he is still now charged with even more responsibility of getting the most out of this football team, because he's probably going to have his hands in personnel matters even more. So he still works for Amy Adams Strunk. So therefore, he has to toe the company line in some regard.
Yeah, I agree. But I just like, at some point, maybe you'll get a chance, but just to say, Mike, did you try to stop this? Did you defend Jon? Did you ever take time through all this process and defend Jon? Or where did you stand on it?
Right.
And one other thing I wanted to ask you, Terry, that I brought up to George earlier was, I think there's been a locker room issue with this that hasn't come out. I think when they were all, this was a big year. Everybody thought this was going to be another year of having a shot at the whole thing. And then when this came out that AJ was traded and gone, I think that looks to the locker room like they're not committed to getting this done, to not keep this guy here. And I'm not sure that locker room didn't get worse after that embarrassment Sunday, and that they just felt like they had to do something and Mike's trying to control that team. I think he's had to go in there and say, we've made a change. We're going to do everything we can to make us as strong as we can be the rest of this year. All of you all pull the rope and you pull your part in this deal. We're going to try to improve this team even in the next 5 weeks. That's the one thing I don't think's been talked about much is the locker room. And I think the locker room, if I was a player in that locker room, it would have really upset me to let A.J. Brown go.
I think you've hit a huge issue there. It's a lot like a team contending in baseball at the deadline, selling off, and everybody going, what the hell? Go ahead, Terry.
No, I think you may be onto something there, because, that locker room chemistry is something that Mike Vrabel cherishes above just about anything else when it comes to football, because he's been a player, played in the league for 14 years. He's been on teams that knew how to win, been on a few that didn't know how to win. And so he knows the difference, and he knows how delicate that can be. And when you remove a guy like A.J. Brown from the roster and you don't set about replacing him with an equal caliber player in his place, it does send a negative message to the locker room. And I think that, maybe what happened in Philadelphia, maybe it was just the final straw.
Yeah, I'm not sure, that Terry, that isn't something we ought to all look into, because I'm telling you, if I'm sitting there and I'm a big time player and we got a chance to go to the Super Bowl and you take that guy out of our locker room and you replace him with a rookie, I'm telling you, it would have upset me now. If I'm Ryan Tannehill, it would have really upset me.
Terry, let me ask you this question, because the scenario that we are being led to believe is that likely she went home, I guess, whether it was Houston or Nashville, pissed off about the way they got clobbered in Philly. A.J. Brown torching him certainly is, a storyline that's huge in this. Do you think there were any discussions between her and Jon Robinson on Monday, or was this simply on Tuesday, all hell broke loose in a phone call?
Honestly, I don't know. But, it's interesting that she waited until Tuesday to do this. The same thing happened when Ken Wisenhunt was fired. When she let him go, she let it stew for one day on Monday before firing him on a Tuesday. So it may be that that's just her style, to try and, gather the facts as she sees them and to take the time that she feels necessary to make this move. But I don't think she entered into this lightly, because you got to remember, Jon Robinson had control of the entire organization up until yesterday. And when he when Amy Adams Strunk took that away from him, that is a bold shift in the power structure of this organization.
Okay, let me try this one on you. Now, I'm a person that's been a part of media since I was young and thin. Oh, that was a nice line, Watson. I thought you'd like that. And I probably have more confidence in people's reporting skills that might be me defending, what it is I do for a living and what others do. Terry, I believe that within a week, somebody is going to get what really went down here. So why not, in her case, try to beat it to the punch and give us a little more so that people like me and Watson don't sit here and just come up with all this stuff?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, but that doesn't seem to be the way that they do things around here. They're not very transparent with a lot of different things. And so that situation just kind of, it's kind of hidden away unless somebody uncovers it. And then the accountability comes, it seems like.
Do you believe in the next week we'll get a bunch more?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay. Barry, I can hear the commotion in the background. You've been awesome to do this. Great reporting. And congrats. Don't wear that hat again.
I will have it on again tomorrow, George.
I'm sure you will, and for weeks to come. Okay. We thank Terry McCormick. That was, I guess, an elongated Daily Titans update.
Yeah, man. How about these Daily Titans updates past couple days?
Yeah.
The Justin Tucker team, as well as Sumner Funeral and Cremation, bring you the Daily Titans update. First, Justin Tucker, they are proven to be trusted with your most personal asset. The Justin Tucker team, they are Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty. Give them a call at 615-906-8458. Also, Sumner Funeral and Cremation, now with 2 convenient locations in Gallatin and Hendersonville, also online at sumnerfuneral.com.
Stat of the day is next. Then we'll be joined by the head man of the Music City Bowl, Scott Ramsey. It's Kentucky and Iowa on New Year's Eve. Later in the hour, we'll get Mark McGee's perspective on the surging Nashville Predators. It's nice to be able to say that. This is Main Street Media Television. When I made the decision to host the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night, Strike and Spare is where I turned. And what a wise decision that turned out to be. They have 5 locations in our area with family attractions. They're perfect for birthdays, groups and corporate outings, and holiday parties. For more info, it's simple. Go to strikeandspare.com.
Walmart Supply Chain is hiring in Lebanon. Earn up to $22.25 an hour when you join our new fulfillment center. Enjoy competitive pay and premium perks, including 100% paid college tuition, 401k match, flexible schedules, a free Walmart Plus membership that includes discounts, and free Paramount Plus, paid time off, and so much more. Fulfilling work starts right here. Text JOIN to 240-240. That's JOIN 240-240 to apply now.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with the tractor trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee. We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards. We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. It's now time for the 5 o'clock hour. It is brought to you by Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic. They've got everything you need whenever you got a sports injury, sprained ankle, or a major joint replacement. They've got the equipment that you need to take care of any patient in any circumstance. Their mission is to provide high-quality, specialized orthopedic care in a compassionate manner to the people of Columbia and Middle Tennessee. Visit them on the web at mtbj.net. for more information.
Okay, before we start this, I want to say a huge thank you to Scott Ramsey because he has juggled his schedule around basically to help me so that I can do a couple of things today that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. So, Scott, first of all, thank you for the juggling. I really appreciate it.
No problem, George. Always look forward to the conversation.
So what have your last 48 to, 60 hours been like? What has that been like?
Yeah, I would even expand it. I think between Thanksgiving and this week are probably two of the, stressful, busy, complicated weeks, days, for a couple reasons. One, after the end of the regular season, kind of going into the conference championship games, you're really trying to be prepared for your matchup. The process, as we've talked about before, has changed over the years, but you still have to be ready for, 2:30, 2:45 Central Time on Sunday with all of the information ready for fans and the public on the selection. So we're typically trying to work on 2 or 3 different scenarios last week. And while that sounds fun, it can also be a challenge at times. Then once you select, for example, yesterday and today, Iowa has about 10 or 12 of their staff here planning their week here in Nashville. Kentucky rolls in tonight. They'll be here tomorrow. So it's hotel planning, meeting room planning, stadium planning, alumni event planning, special events, transportation. All the things that you would suspect when you're bringing a football team here for several days and to get that planned out. So it's a busy couple weeks, but it's exciting as well because it's the first time Iowa's been here, and certainly we've got a great relationship with Kentucky, and it's always great to have them back.
Scott, let's start with Kentucky because they have in the past brought half of the Commonwealth at certain times when they've played here. There's been an incredible fan base. Not many beat it. But they had a weird kind of final third of the season in part because of Will Levis's foot injury. Can you tell yet what level of we're coming to Nashville for this bowl game you're getting out of Kentucky?
Well, I think from the leadership standpoint, from Mitch Barnhart's office, from Coach Stoops and the team, they were locked in really for a couple of weeks, especially even going into the Louisville game. But that they were hopeful that they could play in Nashville this year. So, just from that standpoint, George, I get a really positive feeling. But the way ticket sales work these days. Versus before when you really saw the first 72 hours generate 80% of your sales. Now you really see that happen over a longer period of time throughout the month of December. People can buy when they want. They can buy where they want. Tickets turn over. So it's kind of harder to get a good sense other than just kind of a gut feel. I really feel like they're going to have a solid crowd like they always do here. And really, Kentucky and Iowa in our business have two of the more reliable, predictable fan bases to follow their team. And, we feel like that's our best chance this year to exceed the 50,000 attendance mark, which we've kind of always had an internal goal of trying to exceed each year.
Let's talk about Iowa. I don't pretend to know a ton, except that I'm a radio junkie, and their games have been on WHO, which is a 50,000 watt clear channel forever. And they are an incredibly loyal group. What do you expect out of them?
Well, kind of what you said. I really expect a great turnout from their fan base. Ever since we aligned with the Big Ten 8 years ago, when we had the shared selection with the ACC and the Gator Bowl, and now exclusively with the Big Ten, year 3 of a 6-year deal. Iowa's been the one, and Gary Barter, their longtime AD, that's been a school and a leadership that has just circled Nashville on their postseason destination. And obviously we had Iowa selected in the COVID year, and obviously it was going to be limited at that time. And we had to cancel the last minute due to an outbreak at Missouri. So I'm really looking forward to hosting them. They have one of the best reputations as an organization that's just one of the best to host in our industry. And, obviously with a long tenured AD and a long tenured head coach, you really expect a great experience with them. And I really think Nashville's a destination that their fans obviously have been excited about through their administration, and look forward to having a lot of black and gold in our city for a few days.
Watson, under the who are the hardest working people in Nashville, I'm about 150,000 below guys like Scott Ramsey, who's got to be, man, if he's not in the top 10, I don't know who is. He's your witness. Go ahead.
Well, you should be honored to be below him, because he's one of the top dogs. Now you're below some that you might not want to be honored to be below, but being below this guy, I think is truly an honor, because I don't know how he keeps up and what he does. A little about the bowl first, and then I've got a general bowl question that you won't have to answer if you don't want to, Scott. But are you back to full go now? Are all your festivities, are you back like you were before COVID? I know last year it was working back. Are you full go this year? Is your length of time and all the different festivities in place?
Yes. Each year, though, Watson, as we've talked on this show and others, we sit down at the end of the event and get feedback from the schools, from the players, from the coaches, from the fans, from our board leadership, from the city. And we try to kind of tweak and improve. I think we've done a really good job of that over the 25-year history of the game. So this year, we're going to kind of keep doing what we think we've gotten great feedback on. At the same time, I think what has really emerged from the fan feedback is we really don't have to kind of overplan Nashville. I think when you look at some bowls and when we talk about best practices, a lot of them are investing a lot of time, energy, and money into kind of creating a fan experience around their city or their game or their stadium. And we're pretty blessed to have a downtown that can kind of carry that without having to reinvent something. So I think in the early years, I think maybe we tried to kind of force and funnel fans to certain places. Now I think our downtown really kind of carries the day. I mean, we've got a great, we're really improving our pregame tailgate area this year. We're shifting down Broadway, the Battle of the Bands the night before. And then Thursday night, we got Titans Cowboys. So, I think the city is kind of carrying itself. And honestly, as we're looking forward with a new stadium and even bigger events, when you're talking national championship and Super Bowls and Final Fours, I think the foundation of what we've created here and knowing how fans have responded downtown and having that kind of campus kind of feel is really going to be a foundational strength to our future bids as well.
And to lead to that, I think it was brilliant. And if it's you, I totally pat you on the back to get the bow hook up.
Use the word brilliant.
Well, this was to me to get the bow hook up with the Big Ten and the SEC where you sit was just a no-brainer to me because you sit in a. I've been to bowls when our fans couldn't go. It was just too far, and the players were all excited, but the one thing was missing was a great group of fans. I remember when we went to the Hawaii Bowl. We loved it, but we just didn't have our people with us, and being sitting where you're sitting in Nashville, in such a place everybody wants to go to, Scott. And then on top of that, the way these two conferences are expanding and kind of leaving people, bringing Oklahoma and Texas in on the SEC side, bringing UCLA and Southern Cal in on the Big Ten side. I don't know how long this goes, but I just think that it's a perfect matchup for Nashville. I don't know if it's going to stay that way, but with it being that way right now and bringing these two in like this, I think it's a perfect matchup.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I look at the iterations that we've had over time, and sometimes the general fan or the general person that follows the game doesn't really understand that you get kind of locked into either 4 or 6 year agreements with your conferences. So, I look back in the mid 2000s when we transitioned out of the Big Ten, because at that time, the way the selection process worked and the newness of Nashville, we just really couldn't get high enough in the order to get a variety of teams to get here. In the ACC, we felt like we got higher in the order and were able to expose some new fan bases. And then we transitioned back, and while we didn't get exclusively with the Big Ten, we shared that with the Gator Bowl, and we saw a great response from Purdue and Northwestern the first couple of years, and obviously had the Iowa cancellation. So, to your point, Watson, we really feel like where we are as a city, where we are as an event, having the Big Ten SEC and one of only 3 of those postseason that are played, others being Orlando and Tampa, really speaks volumes. And through that negotiation, I'll share with you something that I thought made our city feel pretty proud, in that the ADs unanimously voted on Nashville being high up in their selection over, coastal cities like Jacksonville and San Diego that they had been longtime partners with. So, you typically think of quote unquote beachfront in Florida and California, and to come to Nashville over that and made us feel really, really good and very positive. So we're looking forward to a really solid run with the Big Ten.
George, I got one last thing, and it's more of a philosophical deal, Scott, that really bothers me. And you don't have to comment. I just wanted to bring it up because I'm seeing it all over the country. When the kids pull out for the NFL, and I got it, we lose some players in these bowl games, and it's just not the same teams that come sometimes. Okay, there's some. This transfer portal is getting unbelievable. I've got friends that have lost 10, 12 players that are not going to bowl games. And it's just not something the NC2A needs to do, because it's not fair to the bowls, to me, to put this thing on and then the teams not be at full strength. I'm not talking about the Music City Bowl. I'm talking bowls in general, Scott. It's got to be addressed, in my opinion, or we're going to be just watering down the bowls more and more and more. And it just really bothers me.
Well, I think the difficult discussion and conversation is going to be about what's the postseason really look like with a 12-team playoff.
Yep.
There are a lot of potholes that we need to figure out how we dodge, and certainly the transfer portal is one of them. And I would say from our standpoint and why we do the bowl here, and everybody could argue bowls, playoffs, whatever, but I think we've always been very upfront as why we did it was we took the slowest week of the year between Christmas and New Year's and used a brand new city-owned facility in the stadium in 1998 to bring what's now been $400 million and, average of 35,000 out-of-towners. So, I think from the business side of what we're doing in the city for that, I think the potholes that we're going to have to look at, Watson, in not only kind of the player engagement, but how will that impact the fan apathy or lack thereof? Will they still want to come and support Iowa, Kentucky, Wisconsin, Auburn, the teams that will really do well here in a traditional setting? And I think that's going to be the hard conversation that we're going to have with the conferences and with the school leadership. Where does the bowl system fit in with a 12-team playoff? I'm hopeful with a new stadium that we're going to have a lot of opportunities to engage in competitive environments on where our game and our city fits in that model. That's still unknown right now because the commissioners just haven't determined a structure. But I think where they fit in, when will we play? So if you're looking at the 12-team playoff, are you going to start locking up a lot of exclusive time windows with broadcasters, which are going to limit your opportunities? And if you're going to push a lot of the bowls to December 24th and 26th, it's going to be tough to kind of get fans to come to your city. So I think there's a lot of things around the new structure. I think with him implementing it in 24, we're going to have to see, is that going to be kind of a 2-year reset and then a whole new reset from 26 and beyond? Or are we just going to kind of operate as we are and just try to see how it goes with the 12 teams? So it's going to happen. It's going to change. And I think Nashville's positioned as well as we possibly could be to take advantage of those changes. But I agree with you. It's getting to be a difficult model. And I think it's impacted the fans. And I think it's impacted just kind of the overall event. And we'll see kind of where it lands.
Scott, really appreciate you taking the time to come on with us. Let's see how this all plays out. Let's get good weather. That's one thing that always helps.
I will say the only thing I'm losing sleep over right now, George, is Friday's weather. After the game Thursday night with the Cowboys, and we're kicking off at 11 on Saturday, natural grass, we need a little good luck there to kind of get it representative for the game on Saturday. So hopefully we'll have a good day on Friday to turn the field.
I'll speak to the man above and see if he can help us.
If not, bring your poncho and we might put a paint can in your hand Friday afternoon.
I love it. I love it. Talk to you. Hey, again, thank you for switching some things around for us.
Thanks.
Sure thing. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Ramsey, he runs the Music City Bowl. And by the way, go ahead, Billy, and lay the info out there.
So Will Levis will not play in the Music City Bowl. He just announced. Bruce Feldman had it on Twitter. So
yeah, that's not a big surprise.
Duh.
Yeah. Duh. So let me also think.
I don't. By the way, I don't know how much he would help in the scoring output of that game either way.
The over under is 12.
31.5 right now.
Yeah, it's
I'm
crazy.
taking the under.
Me too.
Mark McGee is another guy I need to thank because he shifted his schedule around really late in the game to help me. His reward, Watson, is that when we come back and do stat of the day before we interview him, we're going to make him be a part of it.
Oh,
scapegoat.
Absolutely. This will prove that no good turn goes unpunished. You like that?
I like that.
Stay tuned. This is Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham. I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rock Castle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. It's now time for Stat of the Day. Had to push it back a little bit, but we've got Mark McGee to help out Georgia Watson on today's Stat of the Day, and it is brought to you by Jon English Antique Sports and Cards. You can find them in Shelbyville, Tennessee. They're open Tuesdays through Fridays from noon to 5 and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. They've got everything you need if you're a sports fan: antique and historical sports equipment, games, advertising, and so many other sport-related items. You can also find them online at johnenglishgradedcards.com. Don't forget as well about Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. You can call Eric at 615-490-7052 or visit rockcastlewealth.com for more information. And that leads us to Stat of the Day. Let's see what Michael's got as I got to scroll through. Let's see when I can find this. There it is. All right, here we go. Who is the youngest NFL quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl?
Ooh, so first let's bring Guy in here.
Oh, I have no idea on that one.
Well, hi, Guy.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm glad I'm finally on. Can y'all hear me okay? I'm on a different computer.
Yeah, no, you're going to be forced to participate in this because we're going to try to think this through before Billy gongs us. Watson, right off the bat, anything you're thinking of right off the bat that?
Well, we got to put it in the mode of the guys that came out early. Joe Namath was one of the first ones, wasn't he? Didn't he come out early?
He was obviously the winner of Super Bowl III.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Cap, Len Dawson would certainly not have been there, and the Bart Starr, Darryl LaMonica stuff in the first couple of Super Bowls wouldn't have been it. Earl Morrill was a grizzled old veteran.
Johnny Unitas, Earl Morrill.
I think we can eliminate a bunch of them.
It's gotta be one of the early young guys. So come on, guys, who are the early young guys? Who's won Super Bowls? Who were the earlier?
Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl.
All right, that'd be one, but he didn't come out early.
Graduate.
He went on to Wisconsin and graduated. He didn't come out early.
Gee, I'm hearing nothing out of you.
I'm thinking here.
Well, that's the hard part of this.
Did Jefferson Street Joe Gilman, did he win?
Who?
No, that was all Bradshaw.
Montana was not early. Steve Young had played in another league before he even came, so it's none of that bunch.
No.
It's not Stabler because he didn't come out early with Oakland. Pittsburgh, no, not Terry.
Not Bradshaw.
Terry stayed the whole way through. What about Roethlisberger?
No, he played.
Didn't he come out early?
I don't think he was like.
I don't know. It seems to me. Well, he graduated from Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, but I thought he came out a year early.
How quickly?
And he won quick. Now, he won quick.
Okay, you want to go?
I'm not saying that. I'm just throwing names. I'm not ready to just say him, but
okay,
he did win quick. I know he was very young when he won it.
Okay.
Very young. What about the Ravens? Who were their guys?
The Ravens were Trent Dilfer.
No, Trent didn't come out early.
Trent was not it. New York Giants, of course, with Eli.
Would Mahomes be there?
I did
How
some
about Mahomes?
I did some cheating just now. Y'all mentioned the right person.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right name has been brought up.
So you now have cheated.
I have cheated, yes, but I want you all know.
How do you?
Well, dang, man!
That you mentioned the right person.
How do you feel about?
Well, hey, Lord, we've mentioned 15.
Well, we have. Guy, let me ask you this: you've been called on live air.
Why'd you look it up, Guy? You're supposed to be
Here's
helping us.
it. I could have just said, yeah, here's the answer. And
See, I don't think that would have worked with my mom. My mom would have given the.
I could have sounded really smart and said the answer, but hey, I was like saying, hey, I looked it up. And
that's pretty good.
Give me all
I can hear my mom. My son is a cheater.
I didn't cheat. I haven't told the answer, and I've told y'all that you had.
All right, George. Which one of the 15 we answered? We got to go here.
It's either Namath or Roethlisberger.
You going with that one?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Which one?
Let's put them up there. Yeah.
There we go, Watson.
There you go.
Well,
I mentioned him. I mentioned 14 others, but
well, who cares?
2 weeks in a row, Watson's been wrong.
I can't say I won that one now. I was just naming names.
Watson, this is not our first rodeo.
No, it's not.
So as we bring Guy on, does he get glorious music?
You know what? I can pull that up for Guy.
Can you? Because I mean,
this time around.
This is a special appearance. I mean, this was on short notice. He had to change times for me. I think, yeah.
Twice.
Oh, give me a sec.
What happened there? I heard the start of it.
Give me a sec. Gotta get the build up going.
This is big. Guy, are you fired up?
I'm ready. I always have trouble with my laptop. No, I won't give in. I won't give in till I'm victorious.
And I will defend. Damn right we will. Watson, that should be our theme music for Stat of the Day.
I don't know if we've been defending real well.
No.
Not too many glorious stats of the day.
Not many glorious. We got a lot of scars.
We do have some scars. Yeah. So, Guy, they have won 7 of their last 9 games. In your opinion, what's causing that?
Some players that I've said earlier had not stepped up or stepping up, like Deshane Johansson, and even Roman Yossi stepped up and been huge the last few games. He's got 4 goals and 9 assists in his last 10. And so that's been the big thing. They've cut down the penalties again. From that standpoint, they've had some injury situations. Ryan McDonough's out for 2 to 4 weeks with upper body injury. That's a huge blow to the defense. They brought up Jordan Gross from Milwaukee. He's 27. He's kind of an older AAA guy. So, but he's had limited NHL experience. I think he's played 3 games here this year, maybe, but that's going to be a difference on the defense. I think with McDonough being out for a while. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But you have some players stepping up that hadn't been stepping up, and that's made a big difference. And this is a team sport. They're playing as a team. They're playing as a team right now. And I think also the rest they've had. I mean, I don't know if that's going to hurt them or help them later on, because they got a lot of games to play in the last part of the season now because of that. They played 3 games in the last 14 days. So they've had plenty of time to work on any problems they had. And one problem they do have is the penalty kill power play is really off. They are like 28th in the league in the power play, and last year they were 6th. So that was one thing I hope they worked on. They had a power play go the other night, so hopefully they've worked on that quite a bit in this time they've had off. It's almost like the All-Star break in a way. So they've been able to practice. So we'll be interested to see how that works out, because they've got those 2 games now they have to make up. One could be, I think the Avalanche game could, right now, if nothing changes, will be officially the last game of the NHL regular season next year in 2023. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But right now, everything they I think the time off helped them out a little bit to regroup, to rethink what they're doing, and they're playing pretty strong. And they're playing a Tampa Bay team tomorrow night. That's the Predators are 12-9-2, and Tampa Bay is 59-1. So there's not much difference though. The Predators are 5th in the Central, and Tampa Bay is 4th in the Atlantic.
Guy, in your opinion, and that's really all I'm asking for here, is this just a moment in the sun, or is this the start of something better?
I'm hoping, like I said, when I said a couple weeks ago, last week, I said December was going to decide a lot about this team. Right now, I like what I'm seeing from them in December. They've started out, they overtime win at New Jersey, one of the toughest teams in the league. They go to the Islanders and win 4-1 with Kevin Lankinen in goal. And, so, I mean, hopefully this could start with some momentum. Are they right now? They're 5th. They're out in the conference. And, they've got to make some big moves there, but they got some big games in December that can help them move up if they can win those games. So they're playing well on the road right now. So I'm hoping, in my opinion, I feel like I'm trying to be positive. I think that maybe this is the start of something good. We'll see, because they got Tampa Bay on the road, then they come back and play Ottawa, and Ottawa's not living up to his expectations. There were a lot of people that felt like they might be much better this time around, but not so much right now. So they've got a chance to hopefully make this 4 in a row, 5 in a row. Tampa's not invincible anymore. And so they've got a really good chance to possibly go down there and take them out. Steve Stamkos is a big guy for Tampa. And he's got 14 goals and 16 assists. So you stop him, we've got a chance maybe to take Tampa out.
UC's playing better, isn't he?
He is. He is playing much better. The goaltending, it's always it's been solid, but he's playing much better right now. And Kevin Lankinen is a good backup. I mean, he's 3-3, but he's a good backup. I think they're much more confident in Kevin Lankinen than they ever were in David Richter last year. So I think Lankinen has been a good offseason addition. I don't think they mind playing him. I mean, they played him against the Islanders on the road, and that showed me a lot that they felt confident that he could maybe win that game for them, because the Islanders are no pushover. He gives up 1 goal to Matt Barzal in the 3rd period, and Matt Barzal is one of the best players the Islanders have. So I've seen him play in person. He's impressive. So up in Long Island. So yes, I think I'm hoping right now this is a sign of things to come, that maybe this team might finally have it all together.
Watson, say hello to Guy.
Guy, I hadn't seen the game, so I got to rely on you to help me with this. Have they settled on lines? The last time we talked, they were jumping everywhere. Has he settled in with this practice time and off time? Because they've had more time off probably than anybody in the league.
Well, they've had more time off than anybody in the league.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So they should have taken advantage of this, and they have.
I don't know if he ever really completely settles on lines. I think he's always going to tinker with those a little bit from that standpoint. So, I think that right now, most of the penalties have been on defense. For a week, he's out on defense, and then McDonough's out. So, and I don't know about. I've got to check my lines more the last couple of games, but I don't think that he's completely settled on what he wants line-wise. But I think he's getting closer.
Gee, what do you see? Because you're a hockey guy, and I'm learning it or trying to learn it. When these teams, and I see it a lot in hockey, they seem to get on runs. More than other sports. I see hockey teams go 6-7, all of a sudden, then they'll settle back down. Then all of a sudden, here they go again. When the runs start, what really makes it? Is it the goalie? Is the number one thing the goalie? Or what do you see when somebody gets hot or not? Is it just luck of the draw, or what one thing seems to come together to get them going?
Well, a hot goaltender is always a starting point. If you have solid goaltending, solid goaltending erases a lot of mistakes that you might make and saves a lot of sins from that, forgives a lot of sins from that standpoint. But I think one thing you have to have, this is a team sport. This is a team sport right now. You've got McDavid and Draisaitl, two of the top players playing for Edmonton right now, and Edmonton's struggling to keep pace with the rest with it. And so, having one or two players are great. It's a help, but this is a team sport, so the whole team has to start clicking. And that's what the Predators have done. They feel confident right now. I think they build on that confidence, and that makes a huge difference for them.
Yeah. And the other thing to me, Guy, is hopefully we don't make the same mistake we made last year with Soros and overdoing.
Well, I think
I know right now it doesn't matter because we've had so much time off. We're fine. But it made me think when you said that we're going to get thrown into the end of the year with a lot of games that we got to make up through this water deal. Hopefully we'll rest him, and you seem to think that our backup goalie is better than the one we've had. So maybe they'll use him more in January, December, maybe not as much now because we've had time off, but January, February, and not kill Source because, when I watch us play really good, he plays great.
Well,
he's not good. He's great. He makes plays everywhere.
That's the game. That's what makes. That's one of the. If you have a hot goaltender, you got it whipped. Some teams that are pretty good. Some good teams, they're struggling with their goaltending right now, and so the Predators should be very happy with the 1-2 punch they have right now. I think Lankinen is a player that they can feel confident with. I think that they can feel confident in putting him in situations more so than Richter. Way more so than Richter. So I think that I don't think they'll be as afraid to throw Lankinen out there because I think last year they realized that Soros just gave out at the end.
I think he did because he didn't play near as well at the end as he was playing.
He got injured,
and he got hurt too. He did.
A lot of times,
but sometimes you get hurt when you get tired too, Guy. And I don't know that we in this area understand as Preds fans how lucky we've been to have Pekka Rinne, and now Soros through these years as our goalies. Think about that. I don't know if anybody can go a 1-2 punch like that through a 10-year period like the Preds can. That's unbelievable to me.
Think about Thomas Vokoun as well.
Oh, that's true.
Vokoun was
unbelievable.
Yeah, and Vokoun was a throw-in in the expansion draft. They wanted Sebastian Bordelot, and Montreal said, well, you want Sebastian Bordelot, who's now an assistant with the Predators. You want Sebastian, then you've got to take Thomas.
Unbelievable.
Too. So
that's absolutely crazy. Guy, what a thrill it must have been to participate in Stat of the Day.
It was 2 weeks in a row I've done that. So 2 weeks in a row.
We'll make you a regular.
Thrilled to have Wassler on my show Saturday morning. It was great. He did a great job on there. I'm sorry that Iowa made it in. I know that was not your choice to make the Music City Bowl, but you can't have everything, I guess.
I'm cool with it.
Yes,
I'm easy to please. I go with the flow.
Kentucky's in.
Lord have mercy.
Oh my goodness!
It could be. I'd like to see what happens the next couple of days. If they go down and beat Tampa, that would be make it 4 in a row and win on the road again. So I think then come back and beat Ottawa. That's a pretty nice little string start December, which a lot of people feel like it's the litmus test. I've said before. They feel like at the end of the 31st of December, we're going to know what this team is like.
Guy, appreciate it as always. Great stuff.
Great, thank you. That's moving me around time-wise. It's like a rolling crap game or something.
Well, a lot of stuff happened today. I'll just
all right.
I got hit with a couple of curveballs.
Yeah, see you. All right.
See you, Mark. Okay. When we come back, Watson, it's a standard of excellence, the plaster bet of the day. And it comes up next on Main Street Media Television.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com. Since 1865, the First Baptist Church of Gallatin on Winchester Street has served its community by catering to the least, the last, and the lost, providing a church of welcome used by God to save the lost, transform the saved, and impact its community. As a proud multi-ethnic congregation, Pastor Derek Jackson personally welcomes you to join them in fellowship Sunday mornings at 8 in person or at 10:45 in person or online at firstbaptistgallatin.org. First Baptist Gallatin on Winchester Street, serving with open arms as a true church of welcome.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show, final segment here on this Wednesday show. Of course, Bet of the Day is always brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Since 1975, they have aggressively protected the rights of a broad range of victims of car accidents and personal injury in both Tennessee and Kentucky. If you, too, have seen your life interrupted by an injury on a highway, in a hospital, at your workplace, or on unsafe property, let their attorneys do the work fighting for the full financial compensation that you need. Learn more about Bart Durham Injury Law by logging on to bartdurham.com. All right, let's take a look at what happened last night, George. Wisconsin got it done over Maryland last night. It was not Minnesota, as the graphic said yesterday. But the Badgers get it done, and, George, you're 3 games above 500 now.
This is a big time right now.
Excellence.
This is, well, I've gotten lucky on some college basketball.
Yeah, have you missed in college basketball yet?
It's been crazy. I've gone, I've plucked a few out of thin air because the truth of it is at this time of the year, nobody knows for sure.
Oh, it's anybody's guess.
Last night, I took Wisconsin because they've always been really tough at home. And
the Kohl Center.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, there we are. And let's look at where we're going tonight.
Oh, not that one.
No.
Not good. Not taking the Music City Bowl.
No, we're not.
Let's see. I got this graphic somewhere.
Yeah,
George.
the little switcheroo here. Let's see if we can switcheroo it.
Who are you taking tonight, George?
I would be taking the UNLV Running Rebels.
Oh, maybe I didn't get that one up there.
Oh. Anyway, Watson, I will take UNLV minus 7.5 at home against Hawaii.
Hawaii's been real good for me this year, so go for it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's another college hoops game, right?
You seem subdued about standard of excellence.
I'm just sitting here, just admiring you, and
is that so?
And how good you are at this. Question, legit, not
sure
giving you a hard time, just a question.
Yeah.
Which one do you think is the easier sport to bet? Football, basketball, or baseball?
Baseball, but it's the trickiest because it's easy.
Well, then how do you call it the easiest if it's
tricky? Here's what I mean by that. You're going more on pitchers. If Justin Verlander is pitching, it's easy to say that the team he pitches for is likely to win. The flip side in real betting is if you're wrong, you're going to pay more for it.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess
that's where baseball gets more dangerous than the other two, but it is in theory the easiest of the big.
Is that you saying that, or is that kind of the general thought process?
I would think that's a universal feeling, except that what you have are a lot of people, Watson, I think, that gamble because of football. Football is the sport that drove all of this. People who do the other sports, that I think the ones that bet all the sports would say baseball is the easiest.
A good example of it is Scherzer in the playoffs last year. I think it was the first game he pitched. I mean, everybody, I'm sure there was some money put on him, but he just kind of folded. He didn't show up. And
right. That's the dangerous part.
Yeah, sometimes that'll happen.
Yeah. Anyway, that's where we are for today. Let me thank everybody who helped me in the old switcheroo, because we had a bunch of stuff happen at the 11th hour that forced a lot of switcheroos. Tomorrow, we'll get more into whatever the latest developments are on Jon Robinson's situation, the fired general manager of the Titans. We'll also have our first prolonged visit from the college basketball insiders, Ron Bargatze, Lee Fowler. Watson, behave. See you tomorrow.
I will behave, George. Thank you.
Billy, you behave as well.
I'll try to, Georgia. Have fun tonight.
All of you behave. This is Main Street Media Television.